Welcome back to another episode of the Big Boys Podcast. After all this time, it's finally here. The movie critics are giving 8 broken pool cues. Prepare to be blown away. This week, we discuss Roadhouse, the remake.
Prepare to be mesmerized and or mortified.
Well, what's happening there?
Old Sorrel's here had him something now.
You son of a...
Yeah, clever. Kind of soft and only like in one ear.
If I had a nickel for every time I heard that.
Look at those boys, ain't they?
Big Boys with Brian Hickey and John the Great.
And we are rolling. What?
Okay, never mind.
What's up? It's not live. Tell me, what do you need?
I was just going to go grab my drink, but whatever.
Grab your drink. Hurry up.
Okay.
Jesus. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another edition. Jesus, man. Ruin a decent take, why don't you?
Okay.
Greetings. Ruin 2 takes. Greetings, everyone, and welcome to another beautiful, phenomenal, just grandiose episode of the Big Boys Podcast. I'm your host, Brian Hickey. With me, as always, is my cohort in all things podcasting, the man, the myth, the legend, Sir John the Great. John, what is new with you? What is new with your junk?
Oh, man, I had an answer. But I guess the thing I'm most recent to think of is apparently 2 takes were ruined. I was rewatching The Flash. The Flash. Yeah.
No. You can't just say apparently 2 takes were ruined and then not lead in, because I was going to cut those 2 ruined takes. So please do explain yourself to our audience.
Oh, yeah.
On what you were implying.
You were trying to talk before I'd finished it down, and so when I came back, I was like, oh, you're in the middle of something. And so, yeah.
Oh, you mean in the middle of when I do the same thing I've done for the past, I want to say 32 episodes now, where I set up everything, or we get everything set up. I say, hey, everything's set up. Cool. I'm recording. And then as I get ready to start talking, he's like, oh, wait, I got to get a drink.
Yeah, but then you were talking as
cool.
I sat down. That's what I was saying. So I was like, oh, I didn't realize you were already talking.
Well, you have eyeballs in your skull, so what I suggest you do in the future is use them.
Well, unfortunately, our viewers won't be able to see me. Unfortunately, our viewers won't be able to see this because you're going to cut it off.
You are the person who is able to see whether or not my mouth is moving. You have that functionality within you.
Yeah, but they're going to be able to see.
I'm keeping this in.
Yeah.
Don't you dare.
No. I'm going to do that too, because I know you'll cut off the initial part. And they'll be able to see you were talking before I was even sitting down. So I wouldn't know that you're already in the middle of doing whatever you're doing.
How would they? Okay, there's not a camera following you going to the kitchen to get your drink. They don't have that POV of you.
No, but they'd be able to see this camera right here without me in it. So obviously I'm not here, like I'm somewhere else. Like I didn't just turn invisible.
But you're just mindlessly just walking back, just da-da-da. Like, yeah. You had the,
well, without my headphones on. I didn't hear you talking. I couldn't see the screen. I couldn't hear it. So I sat down. All right, I'm ready to go. Oh, you already started. Like, yeah. And then when I say, we'll go again. Yeah.
Yeah. This week we reviewed ourselves the new edition, the fantastic. Yeah, I'm throwing now, man. Listen, pal. You had to get your drink. That's fine. You got your drink? Are you refreshed?
I am. I'm ready to go.
All right, we good?
Yeah. I thought you were moving on already.
No. This isn't for the podcast. This is just between you and me. Hey, bud.
Oh, it's recording still, so I wasn't sure. See, I'm using my eyes.
But
and
yeah, right. But you're using them now to look. We're cool, right?
Yeah. We were never not cool. There was just some confusion, and we were addressing it. That happens. Happens to everyone. No big deal.
Yeah. Exactly. What?
Oh, okay. I see here. Having an issue with this attachment, but I got it figured out.
Riveting. All right. So, this is the new Roadhouse we went back and watched this week, in addition to what we watched last week, which was the 1989 Roadhouse. And holy shit, Johnny boy. I don't know about you. I haven't checked in with you to get your initial thoughts, but like I honestly got to say, I was blown the fuck away.
I enjoyed it. There were some parts that I'm not sure I was like, but overall it was well done. I would definitely watch it again. It was enjoyable, served its purpose.
It certainly did, man. I don't know. I just thought that like, as far as like, if you're going to do a remake, this is the way to do it, where it pays more of an homage to it, but it isn't like, and it has its own story rather than like, I don't know. I barely remember Roadhouse 2, like I said last week, but I feel like it was just like every, point in the plot and the story was just like stopping like, oh, and so this is also kind of like what happened in Roadhouse 1 or whatever, you know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas just like they kind of, if you've seen the movie, you kind of, you see little Easter eggs here and there, but it's not, for the most part, it's its own story. It's a new chapter in the Roadhouse universe, if you will. But it doesn't play itself like that. It's just, it's just a great updated version.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I like the fact that he was a former UFC fighter. One thing that I liked the most in this one was the bad guy had a clear motive, like why he was doing what he was doing. I feel like in the original, maybe I just missed it every time I watched it, but I never really understood, like, because in the original he didn't want to close the Double Deuce. He didn't want to end it. Like, what was his motivation? Why was he against everybody? But in this one, okay, it makes sense. Like, I don't want to spoil too much for our viewers. Actually, we'll just go ahead and say spoiler warnings. Maybe we should tag that when we put this post up. If you haven't watched it,
I was going to say that too. Yeah.
Watch it before. But
this
in this one
specifically, because this is so new. Yeah. Versus all the other ones we've done.
Yeah, but this one, like, obviously it's okay. He's trying to get the land to build this big resort or whatever. So it makes sense. He wants to get that and tear down the Double Deuce to build the resort. So I liked that the bad guy had more clear motivations. Maybe that's just me needing the plot spoon-fed to me, but I don't know. I liked that.
Well, let me give you a little bit of some spoon feeding, because I'll argue that there was definitely plenty of plot within the 1989 Roadhouse. I was just over the top, which I love. I love the slow simmer of this movie because it kind of starts off in a slightly above reality kind of realm of where it's like it's not too ridiculous, but then once you kind of get introduced into Conor McGregor, and then it just like goes like, whoa, now we're jumping ramps with like just now we're really jumping the shark in the best kind of way.
Yeah.
But like Brad Wesley in the original Roadhouse, played by the incomparable Ben Gaza. His character he's basically like the kingpin of Jasper, right? And he collects he collects tax on everything. So like when he fires his nephew, who works for whatever the guy's name that owns the Double Deuce Roadhouse, he's there as kind of just like, just giving him a busy job, but he's also overseeing, making sure that that they use, Wesley's liquor guy. Like it's all his businesses.
You bring up a good point.
So he has
I forgot about that.
He has a whole stranglehold on it. So it's actually the same story. That's my point. It's like a different thing, but it's setting in a more digestible storyline of today.
Because he kind of forgot about that. But yeah, they did at one point stop using Wesley's liquor supply and find a different one. And then he sent his guys to rough him up, and then
And then what really ultimately made him want to just be done with the double deuce altogether was that Dalton wouldn't took his girl.
Yeah.
He couldn't have that.
And was like, I guess firing his guys that were running the place.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to you throw guys out of the bar that you're squeezing dry. You rip throats out of people's employees.
Yeah.
Fine. So be it. But you take some eye candy away from Ben Gaza, even though he's already got a promiscuous wife. And, I assume he probably has like all kinds of key bowl, parties or whatever out in that mansion where he has helicopters landing. My point being is the man needed everything. So there's kind of a similar storyline.
A large fish in a very small pond, so I'm sure he had options. But he's a man of principle. And you know what? Part of me can appreciate that.
Yeah, you being a 5-pound bass.
Yeah. No, I meant the principle part, not the fish part. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. That's what tomato. Indeed. Yeah. I mean, dude, like I said, I enjoyed like the kind of the slow set in reality. I mean, it's obviously not everyone's reality. I'm not, stumbling into underground fight clubs and things of that nature. But I would say that kind of stuff does exist. Not to again harp on too much about like the Appalachia that we've talked about before, which is obviously not what there's a set of this. I assume that's probably still somewhere in Florida where they're having the the underground fight in the dirt. Probably. But I'm not going to throw anybody under the bus, but I knew of some of those types of things happening out there in Appalachia. So it's like it's ridiculous to think that those things kind of exist, and if you're not in the know about them, but they do.
Well, I'm not surprised. And even then, it's not that hard to believe that something like that could happen. It's not like that was beyond the pale here, like them having that in there, and it's like, oh, okay, well, I'm just so taken out of the movie now. This could never happen. So, it's totally believable. Yeah.
And of course, the joining with the UFC, which was like crazy. Like, I don't know if I tried to look into that. I guess the only the whole flashback sequence with him in the UFC, like that's all shot in one day. They did that at an actual UFC live event.
That makes sense. Something like that, they would have to like film it at an event. Yeah.
Which I mean, I guess. I mean, like, because they probably already had all the same. Because it was actually at they had their additional camera team as well. But that's pretty crazy, man. Like, there's so much technical stuff about this movie that like just really like fucking just melted my brain. Like, the way that they get away with like, and it looks so real. It feels real. It's like it looks like full contact. Like when like there's no pulled much. There's no camera trick angle. There's something else they're doing. Like I was watching Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor and doing an interview talking about it, like how they were, and I couldn't really quite figure it out, but like he was talking about something about like how first they do the traditional you swing and the guy leans like kind of like a wrestling style of lean with a punch or whatever, you go with it, and the second take is them doing that. I guess they hit like a pad of some sort, and it's all done in post, obviously. He was calling it a pad, but I didn't get to like, I was trying to find if I could see like a making of or something where they show how they do this in post, but I couldn't find anything. But he was saying something that you hit like a pad or whatever, and then the third take is the pad hits the person that hits or something like that. But like, dude, it looks real as hell. Like when he goes into on a boat to negotiate the kidnapping of the girl or whatever, and the one goon just like straight up cold cocks him in that wide shot, and you see like it looks like his fist like almost like imprints on his cheeks, like Jesus,
I wonder if they did that with like compositing, where if there was one where
like for sure they did, but like there's something else too where like I just don't know how they're like, what do they like? Does everyone have like a a dummy version of their faces that they're getting? I don't think so.
Could it be they might just have marks and then be like, all right, bring in the dummy. Jake Gyllenhaal steps out. But punch him, and then
that would work for like a really like extreme close up, right? But like what I'm saying is like that's where it's like blowing my mind is because it's like an extreme wide shot in the middle of the fucking ocean.
Yeah,
you know, that's where. It's
so I mean,
like
it was very well done and good, well choreographed.
Yeah,
yeah,
and also with like how we were kind of giving shit about in our past movies, the one, you know, all the ridiculous movies that we really love of like the sound effects are always just kind of like these are nonsensical noises every time somebody gets hit. These kind of felt like oh that does kind of sound like
felt more realistic
like when somebody gets hit. Yeah.
Movies as a whole have kind of gone that way. It's not like the 80s and 90s where the punch sounded like, you know, like a whip crack, or it was like when they would punch him. You know, now it's like a more realistic sound. I guess some of that's just changing trends in cinema, but
yeah. And I wonder. I mean, I don't know. I don't really think he would get this technical about it, but like you got to wonder also like with UFC being a partner in this because like you know I don't think they would give their brand without like you know like okay it can't be like ridiculously fight sounds or the fights can't look ridiculous if we're going to be you know branding our name with these characters. You know what I mean? Maybe,
but then again, we all know it's just a movie too. You know, I mean, it was still pretty over the top.
Yeah, but like I said, it is branding though in that regard.
Yeah, I would imagine their control is probably more over what Conor McGregor does or happens in the movie because he is actually like directly connected to the UFC, whereas Jake Gyllenhaal, everybody knows he's not really connected to the UFC.
Yeah. I feel like because I was also watching that same interview, I think it was, and they were talking about how they almost weren't able to make it to where Dalton was a guy, like his past wasn't that he killed a guy in the UFC because, you know, they didn't know if they wanted that associated with the sport or whatnot.
Yeah.
And then fortunately they were able to win out because like, obviously you can't have you can't have Dalton, the main Roadhouse character, you know, be somebody
like his motivation.
Doesn't have a backstory. Yeah, it doesn't have that same backstory because then it just makes him not as what am I trying to say here? Not as vulnerable is not the right word, but I don't know. It's not the same character. He doesn't have the same
motivations. Yeah.
Yeah. And I love the way that they took the twist. That's exactly like what I was saying. Like for me, dude, like this movie, I was really impressed with this dude. Like I got nothing bad to say about this film.
Yeah.
It blew me. Like I was not expecting much from this at all. And I was expecting like at most like, all right, it'll be a nice, you know, there'll be some fun action sequences, but I just love the way that the tone shifts with and like just the way they shifted like and the tone shifts with getting darker and more ridiculous at kind of like at the same time. They both kind of ramp up, you know, like, and Jake Gyllenhaal does that thing that he does so well in what's that other movie where he's Nightcrawler?
Yeah,
where he just kind of that under the surface, like, oh, by the way, I'm a psycho. You know, and that kind of he just plays that so well. Of like just kind of like this is a guy that I don't think I ever want to be alone with in my life ever.
Yeah.
You know, like big fan of your work, Jake. Don't ever be alone with.
I agree, and I think it was really well done. But I do like a little better in the original the fact that like he didn't really want to use the deadly move, but that guy like pushed him to it. In this one, he seemed like once he'd been pushed so far, like he was just a little more okay with killing.
I was gonna say this is what makes him a bit more dangerous for me is because. You know, Dalton 1989 is self-defense. Dalton 2024 is because he liked it.
Yeah, and I liked it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was that joke from what is that? What was that
Together?
Show from? Just me. Drawn Together. That's your favorite joke from that, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah.
I killed somebody. Like he's all
Yeah. No, it's like a squirrel, and he was like, I killed one of God's most innocent creatures, and I liked it. like that might be one of the best jokes from that show. Yeah.
That's exactly this version of Dalton, and that he's also just kind of, and they did it like again. He's such a great actor, man. Like the way that he kind of just like he stares off, and it's also great edit. Everything's great. Picture in this is great.
Yeah.
But like he just kind of like he's just kind of sitting with like, oh, I just killed somebody, and like he's just kind of sitting with that. as it cuts back to him. I was really blown away with this man.
Yeah.
The only, one character that, and actually, again, one character I noticed was missing, but I think the movie's perfect the way it is. I don't think it needed him at all. I think they hit every element the way that it should have been, but the one that was I was expecting at some point, just because he was such a prominent figure in the original Roadhouse, was Wade Garrett, which I guess they had maybe somewhat of an Easter egg in there, if you consider just the name Wade an Easter egg, where the girl at the bookstore is talking about an outlaw who comes to town named Wade. But his last name is Garrett. His last name isn't Garrett; it's something else.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Yeah, but I just kind of figured, like, all right, well, what's this guy's Wade Garrett doing? Like, where did Dalton? Sure, he went to the UFC, but like that's not where you get. You don't get bouncing skills. You don't get the skills of what you need to become a cooler.
I was hoping that term would come up in here. They mentioned the term cooler.
And so I figured he probably had to go to like some kind of school for that, right? And so I figured that's probably like a university where you have a professor. Help me out here, Wade Garrett.
I think it's the School of Hard Knocks.
Yeah, we have an ad read for the School of Hard Knocks from Wade Garrett's School for Coolers. And John, if you could please, I would like for you to read as Wade Garrett and your best. What's the name? Mr. Sam Elliott. If you could just try to figure out just harness his voice, if you could. And whenever you're ready, Mr. Garrett, please inform us of your groundbreaking educational programs.
Hola, mijos. The name's Wade Garrett. Me llamo Professor. And this is Cooler Cooling 101. Now, what you fresh out of the Icebox ice packs need to understand is that as a cooler, you may have once been a bouncer, but a bouncer can be no cooler. You understand me? That dog won't hunt. Now, I only have 2 rules when it comes to cooling. Feel free to add your own third. Always be nice, and always make brash, unsolicited advances towards your protege's love interest. Trust me, all coolers and power dynamics. Let me read. Trust me,
take that one more time, Wade.
Trust me, you're all into coolers and power dynamics. It'll be fun for everyone. And should you ever fall prey to a noted knife in your chest, this will secure necessary bond needed for your protege to avenge your death. That's the power of 3-way with 2 dudes and a chick, and that's the power of becoming a cooler for life. Now get out there and go show the world you can demolish an entire county's infrastructure by just daring to kick out a few rowdy, belligerent drunks from a bar.
Oh, that was inspiring.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Thank you.
I was just trying to remember.
John, thank you, Mr. Garrett.
I was just trying to remember all random lines that I've heard him say in various movies.
Anytime I try to think about doing like a Sam Elliott type character, I just think about being out on the land, with a fire. You just sitting by the fire, watching it burn. Now I don't know what I'm getting into here. This is kind of like a Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
Anyways, but you got to slow down for those kind of men who have the southern drawl of intelligence, I guess is what you would call it. You know
well, sometimes he's kind of got that little smirk when he's speaking a little bit,
Yeah. Somewhere's I know something that you don't.
Kind of like when he they're beating up the guys over the beer shipment, and he kicks that guy in the knee and just kind of tells him, "Damn, don't that hurt like hell?" Like, you know, you got to have that little smirk. Like, you know, like, yeah.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I feel like there was definitely plenty of smirks, if you will, or, you know, that man, everyone killed in this movie. Some of the best, some of the finest goon acting I've seen in quite some time.
Yeah.
All the goons killed it.
Yeah, like all those bikers.
The guy played Dell and Mo, I think was the other guy. Mo was my favorite by far. Would have loved to play his part. That was the guy who was like, like, was your bikes with it? Oh yeah, that's mine. That's the red one,
yeah.
The
guy that was kind of the nice goon. Like, yeah. Yeah. I was kind of hoping though, and now again, no complaints with the way it ended, but I was kind of hoping that what's his name, Knox McGregor's character, was going to get kicked into the water and eaten by the crocodile.
That would have been something, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't know, man. Like this, again, I certainly am not complaining about the ending at all. I loved it, but like I like the way they towed the line between ridiculous and over the top, and you know, like it's fun without being like cliche fun of like because now it's people are so, or at least the industry seems to be aware of like cringe culture. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like Sharknado. Like there's how many Sharknadoes now or whatever. I haven't seen any of them, but like it's just kind of, to me, watching something like that does not have like the same level as fun. Just because like, yeah, they just be zany.
Well, movies like that
maybe
are
I should watch some Sharknadoes.
They're kind of self-aware. Like they're made to appeal to that specifically. Like they're made to be bad, basically.
So I guess what I'm trying to say is if the croc comes back and eats a second person, it's almost kind of leaning more into that camp.
That's true. I think had I been the maker, I would have saved that for Knox and had something else happen to Dell. But, you know, tomato. Like, I can't really complain with the way the movie turned out.
See, this is where I gotta, gonna argue with your very, very loose argument. Like you weren't standing behind that point at all. But I'll say nay, sir. That using the gator to kill Dale in that moment, there was a perfect setup of like the. I just love the way they delivered that Dale's just such a dumbass, and every time, like right before, if you notice, before he dies, and then of course before he gets his ass kicked, and the first time just always he ends with "Oh fuck you,"
yeah,
you know, and then he gets the shit that, and the same thing. He does the same line right before he gets eaten by the fucking gator.
Yeah,
it's like I'm pulling you up. Oh fuck you,
yeah.
And then fucking gets eaten.
Yeah,
it's just great. Best way for him to go.
Yeah, and I mean that was gruesome too because he's like trying to pull him up and he can't get him up in time.
Yeah, it's just really well written, and like I cannot remember the name of the screenwriters for the life of me, but my God, it seemed like there was obviously with everyone there's like one or two main ones that get the billing, but I think there was also a few story buys as well. So, and then of course obviously based off of the original Roadhouse, but man, yeah, like all the plot points and dude, the picture,
it looked great.
I just say, yeah, watching movies like this is the kind of like movie that like gets me excited about like the advancements of like the technology we have where you can just swing the camera around that much and it doesn't look cheap. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
where that's like a lot of my beef with people that like to use drones a lot or whatever. It's just because like it's just a lot of the times it's just lazy, unlit, you know, footage. And this obviously huge Hollywood budget. Yeah, it's gorgeous, man. Like, yeah, I just love the camera movements and that's another level of it too. Of like, there's like, again, let's not compare apples and oranges here. Roadhouse 1989 is perfect in its own right. This is perfect in its own right for me. Like they're two totally different things. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And other than the fact that it shares the same title, that this shares the same title as its first one, it reminded me a lot of what it did right. I thought that is basically another remake. It just has a different title. Is The Girl Next Door. Have you seen that movie?
Yeah. It's actually a pretty funny movie.
That was Emile Hirsch's big breakout. But it's basically just the remake of Tom Cruise's movie.
Risky Business.
Risky Business, yeah, and even the score almost sounds identical. You know what I mean? So it has like elements of that.
I think I've only seen Risky Business once. It may have been us together. I think the only time I saw it was when we first moved over here. It was like me, you, and Chris living together, and I don't remember much about it, to be honest.
Well, it's like that's my point being is like it's the same story, like the same bare bones, the same construct of it, right? Except obviously it's told in a different time and a different place, in a different era, and that's what's fucking awesome. It was like not just trying to like I don't know. I feel like when I go back, like when I watched, maybe that's also the other thing too about like when you try to remake sci-fi movies, it doesn't work as well because like you're leaning so heavily into the sci-fi angle of it that like it's going to feel like you're just basically trying to make a carbon copy of the original. So why even bother? Like with Total Recall or with RoboCop, you know what I mean?
I don't know.
Yeah, it's hard. Well, my point being, it's hard to reimagine a completely new, different story of RoboCop, like we have here with Roadhouse, or with, you know what I mean? Because there's a bit like technically, you know. Coolers don't even exist in this universe. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In the RoboCop universe, no matter how you want to tell the story, at what era, whatever, you know, at whatever decade, RoboCops exist. He's got to become a RoboCop. You know what I mean? Versus than just a guy who has to, save a town. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I just feel like these kinds of movies are a hell of a lot easier to remake because there's way more to play with. And
maybe
with that, maybe I should
I mean, I guess in RoboCop you could just change the various things that happen to him. He doesn't always have to get killed by criminals and drug dealers. Like it could have just been an accident and they turned him into a RoboCop. I don't know.
You just gonna totally change the genre of RoboCop, like where he's just a guy lost and finds his way. And then, once again, Peter Gabriel's Salisbury Hill has to come in.
Well,
he thought he was a cop.
It's not
turns out he's more robotic than that.
It's not changing the genre. But instead of him getting killed and all his limbs shot off with a shotgun, like in the original, like he could have just been like killed in a terrible car accident, and they were like, "Oh, but the company turned him into RoboCop." But at that point, you're literally just changing how he died. Like the rest of the movie is still really the same.
Mm-mm. I guess, yeah. No, that's because at the end of the day, there has to be a company making RoboCops, as a weapon. It can't just be he was an insurance salesman and he got in a horrific car crash, and then like this company wants to make him the ultimate killing machine. Well, he has to be
Well, yeah, they're still making RoboCop. You're just changing how he died. Like, basically they're looking for something and be like, hey, here's a guy, maybe we can talk the wife and or whatever. So they would get a hold of his remains through less than ethical means and use him to create RoboCop. I guess how he died.
I understand
isn't relevant. The point is he's dead. They obtain his remains through less than ethical means. RoboCop is born.
I understand the plot points to RoboCop. I think we're on the same page. I think we're making the same argument here.
Yeah.
It's not as much can be done with RoboCop as stuff that is, movies that do not involve turning cops into robots.
Well, the difference is I think there is a lot to be done there, because then what does he do once he is RoboCop? What does he do once he is RoboCop? There could be a whole host of things.
Sure.
Yeah.
Like, does he take a job working as a bouncer in the Florida Keys?
Oh, I think you're onto something here. The Robo Roadhouse.
Oh my God, dude. I think we got it right. Oh, that's yeah.
Yeah.
There's so many, like, I know they're right there. Like the puns are there, you know. I just can't reach out and grab them.
Yeah, exactly. And you could just come out and it'd be the same thing, like throwing out rowdy patrons, be like, dead or alive, you're getting the hell out. Like, yeah, dead or alive, it's time for you to leave. You know?
All right. Dead or alive, you ain't got to go home, but you can't stay here.
Exactly.
Oh man.
Robo Roadhouse. I think we're on to something. A RoboCop Roadhouse crossover.
And he has to have Total Recall. Just let's throw them all in there. Mesh it all
Why
in.
not? Sure. I actually never saw the Total Recall remake. Or the Blade Runner one.
Well, first of all,
that was
Blade Runner was a sequel.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it was okay if I remember. I think it got a lot of guff, but like, I think it's fine. It's another Blade Runner. You know?
Yeah.
It's like when people, you know, anticipate a new Star Wars movie, which I guess they're not even going to make any more of those. I guess it's just going to be 3,000 new series. But like, they're always, you know, the excitement and the build-up is like, you know, everyone's so psyched and they're like, all right, but, you know, brace yourself because it's never going to be what you want it to be. It's never going to be your childhood. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like the thing that, like, you know, shaped you as an adolescent into like liking these types of movies. Like, yeah, you're a 35-year-old adult man watching a movie that is similar to the movie that you loved growing up. And, you know, if it's anything more than that, like, holy shit, what a pleasant surprise. That's where I'm kind of like, damn, I wasn't expecting this. I wasn't expecting them to be able to meld both worlds of the ridiculous and the raunchy and kind of like just like, oh, fuck, he might be like, you know, you fuck with him. He might be a terrible person. Not so much about like a joke of like, oh, yeah, you fuck with Dalton. That's the end of you. Like at that scene where he's watching him drown, you know, it's like, yeah. Jake Gyllenhaal in this movie, Dalton feels like a killer.
Yeah, like he's got that darkness with him, and I guess that's the point. Is the UFC match was the first time he'd ever seen that come out, and he's been running from it, and they finally pushed him so far that he like kind of just had to embrace it. And yeah.
I mean, honestly, the way that they've set up this movie is like this. The way that they've set this film up is like it could go on forever. It could basically be a new series. I feel like it just the structure, the way they set it up, you know.
Well, they could definitely do a sequel because we saw at the end that Knox did not die.
For sure.
Yeah.
And then it would just depend on how much longer Conor McGregor's going to fight. And man, he was, dude. That was another element of a nice little treat. I was not expecting anything out of Conor McGregor.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is his first acting gig ever, and dude, fucking just blew my socks out of the water. I was not, I was not expecting him to be charismatic at all. I just thought he was gonna be like a guy who was like, oh, he sounds Irish and knows how to throw kicks.
Well, I guess that's part of the reason
killed it, man.
why he's so big in the UFC, though, is like, granted, that doesn't translate to being a good actor necessarily, but like, you know. It's the same in wrestling,
right.
Same in a
it's
lot
like
of stuff.
Saying that every wrestler is going to be a great actor. That's not the same, yeah.
Yeah, but showmanship, charisma can take you a long way because, you know, like, you know, that's a lot of like how these guys are paid is not necessarily on how good they are, but how many butts in seats they attract. You know what I mean? And so he definitely has that charisma going for him.
Yeah. Here's what sold me on it, because like, yeah, I knew that, and like I was a fan of Conor McGregor, the fighter, before, and that just seeing him get amped up for the fights and the way that he would promote them, fantastic. And you know, I was expecting him to be able to deliver in that regard. Here's where I got sold on him, is they had the huge fight inside the Roadhouse, and then of course I don't remember exactly how they get to that. I think Jake Gyllenhaal is walking away from him, and Conor McGregor delivers the line perfectly, man. Just like, something's wrong with you. Me too.
Yeah.
Just like, oh.
Oh, you see, yeah, he's
I believe
crazy.
that shit.
Yeah, that dude's crazy. Like, yeah, that was a good line.
That was a fucking great. So that might have actually been the moment I was 100% like, this might be my favorite movie of 2024. Like
I was pleasantly surprised too, because you go in and kind of thinking like, I don't want to get my hopes too high, and then
that surpasses my my low expectations, and then almost, I mean, on one hand, I'm super grateful that this didn't cost me a damn penny to view. You know, I just had to log on to the old Amazon account. But on the other end, feels like it's a bit of a crime that Amazon kind of robbed them from having a theatrical release. Like, this could have been. I feel like this could have been like a fucking the blockbuster of the summer, man.
Maybe
like, it had all the elements.
But you're still rolling that dice because it's like a lot of people are going to have the same predisposition. Like, oh, they're remaking Roadhouse. Maybe word of mouth saves it, but
I mean, yeah, I guess maybe, it's hard to say because I'm not interacting with too many other people that have seen it at this point. Yeah. It's been less than a week, so yeah, I don't know. But like, if anyone else is having the same goddamn visceral reaction that I am, like, I would hope the word of mouth gets it out there, man. It was it was great. I love, like, and I'm usually, again, it just took all the things that I thought I was going to be irritated about, that I usually am irritated about in movies, and just like somehow made it work. Like, I'm usually like, you know, roll my eyes at like anything where I see where they ramp speed. It just looks cheesy to me. But like that truck scene where they're they're trying to run him over and run him off the bridge.
Oh yeah.
You know, they do like a ramp speed, but it works well. And it, like, just the angle that they do it at. And again, like, I wish I could find like a good video. I was really trying to hope to find something that I can, you know, kind of give some behind the scenes info on of what they're doing with like some of these camera tricks, because it's really just kind of like, just blowing my mind. Because I know for sure that guy did not just, you know, fully fucking swing and hit Jake Gyllenhaal, you know, didn't just cold cock him in the face point blank.
Yeah. Now, I did read too, like, McGregor being on this, I guess everybody like got along all right and stuff, but this being his first movie, he had a little bit of, you know, there's a learning curve. And I was reading one where they were talking about like they'd be doing a fight scene and he would still be like kicking Jake Gyllenhaal and he'd be like, whoa, cameras aren't rolling anymore. And it's like, oh, sorry. Like, my bad. Like, you know?
Yeah.
But he's still like throwing, you know, hits and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, I also heard that he was a bit of a handful on set, but I don't know, man. Once again, I wasn't there. I don't know. And it's just my interpretation of him saying that he didn't show up for blocking of something or another. And again, like you said, he's green to the whole thing, so I guess he didn't realize how important it was. But also kind of, you know, put your ego in check there, dude. Obviously, you're on a multi-million-dollar set. Everything is important.
Yeah.
You know? But he was talking about like, they basically, I'm paraphrasing, so don't quote me on this, but like I don't know if they lost a full day, but they lost a good chunk of a day because he didn't show up for blocking. And so he made sure to show up for it after that. But anyways, again, totally wowed by the guy's performance. I'd love to see him do some other stuff. Love to see him. I think he's, on the interview, I think he said he's due to fight on the 29th of June, something like that. So maybe that'll be around like the time that old Jakey Paul and Mike Tyson fight.
I think theirs is in July.
Is that right?
Yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah. Oh man, it's gonna be great just watching Tyson mutilate that fucking. Like, I get promoting fights, dude. Like, and you know, you talk trash to kind of build up the. It's basically just like, you know, pro wrestling. You that's all they're doing every week on SmackDown is building up, ramping up, promoting for the next pay-per-view, right?
Yeah.
You know, trash talking, having little exhibitions or whatever. But and I'm pretty sure this is accurate. Maybe I saw something in fake news wise, but I could have sworn the dude put out a tweet like disparaging Tyson's dead daughter.
I haven't heard that, so I don't know. But that would be pretty messed up if so.
Yeah. And again, who knows, dude? Maybe I ran into like a YouTube AI rabbit hole or something. But if he said that, I was like, Jesus Christ, dude! Like that is the very definition of tone deaf. Of like there are some things that are just like off limits.
Yeah,
on all accounts, you know. But yeah, that's gonna be nuts, man. And then I don't know who Conor McGregor's fighting, but it'd be good to see him, catch him in the ring again. Always entertaining. Be good to catch him on screen again. But who knows when that will be? I imagine it. Maybe we'll see more of him. Like, what's that soccer player who was in a lot of action films? Vinnie Jones, is that his name?
Oh yeah.
Maybe we'll see more. Yeah, maybe we'll see more of Conor McGregor in like Vinnie Jones kind of roles when he retires.
Well, that
seems like Vinnie Jones did.
Well, that seems to be a very possible career transition. A number of wrestlers have made the transition to movies. Randy Couture,
well, that seems
he did it, although he kind of had a peak and a fall, but he still did it.
Yeah. Well, there's only so many. And I'm not knocking the guy. Like, obviously, he kicked my ass, but I think he's also aware of his own ear drums and lubes. You know, there's only so many roles he can play where he looks like, he fits within that world. You know what I mean? Like, you can't have Randy Couture and I don't know, Khloe Kardashian and the next rom-com of whatever. That just seems like a odd pairing.
Yeah, and he's just got like cauliflower ear.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Khloe Kardashian was a bad example. But yeah, you
I get your point. Yeah. So I don't know. I wouldn't mind seeing that him transitioning to a decent acting career. There we go.
Character, yeah.
You know,
for sure, man.
Because I mean, he could definitely do like action type roles, or fighting stuff. You know.
Yeah, and then we can have the ultimate after their fights. We'd have the ultimate influencer fight. We'd have Tom Hardy versus Jake Gyllenhaal in the old octagon, huh?
That would be cool. I mean,
again, another great joke in the movie.
Mike Tyson also kind of
as he's in the boat, just like, look at us, our own little octagon. Like, who taught you shapes?
Mike Tyson even transitioned into kind of an acting career. Granted, some of that is just playing versions of himself, but
yeah, I guess you can maybe a more accurate statement would be a entertainment career.
Yeah, because if you look, like, I'm on his page now, a lot of these are roles where he's playing himself. Or like, he was in that movie Grudge Match.
Mike Tyson had like a Broadway show about his life for a while.
Oh, that's cool.
I think that was around the time that, like, I think they came out, if not right before, around the same time as The Hangover. So yeah, he's Mike Tyson's got all kinds of things going. He's got with the now deceased Norm Macdonald, Mike Tyson Adventures was an animated show on Adult Swim.
I remember that, yeah.
Yeah, and Norm played like a talking pigeon, I think. It was pretty wacky show.
See, now you're seeing basically about the last 10 or so years, you're seeing him actually play other characters. But before that, a lot of it was like an episode of How I Met Your Mother, but he's playing Mike Tyson, or like he was in that movie Grudge Match with De Niro and Stallone, but he played Mike Tyson, which makes sense because it's a boxing movie. So
has he? Are you saying that he has played other roles other than himself?
Yeah, like the first one that comes to mind, I don't even need to look at the sheet for, was Ip Man 3. He played like the villain in that movie, a guy named Frank.
Oh,
yeah. Shit. Then you see Kickboxer Retaliation, character named Briggs. Pharaoh's War, whatever that is, character named Rick. Oh, here we go. There's the Mike Tyson Mysteries. That's the one you're talking about.
Yeah.
Then there was this show called The Last OG. He was in 2 episodes. Played a character called Triple OG.
Nice. Okay, that was with Tracy Morgan. I never wanted to check it out.
Yeah, and then Public Disturbance. He was in that. Played a character called Barry Black.
What is Public Disturbance?
Looks like a comedy. It's from 2018. A feature film inspired by the pranks performed by the comedy troupe The Janoskians. Not familiar with them.
I'm not familiar with any part of that sentence you just formulated there.
Yeah.
But yeah, I could totally see Conor McGregor falling into these, like especially in this later in his life. How old is the dude? He's probably, 5 years older than us?
No, I think he's like our age. He's like maybe slightly older. He's like 35.
Shut the fuck up. No, he's not. No way. No.
Conor McGregor?
Can't be. I refuse to believe he's the same age as me.
Let's see. Yeah, 35. July 14th, 1988. So. Yep.
So he's only the man is only a few months older than I am.
Pretty much, yeah. He's about a month younger than my brother. Yeah. 2 months younger. Yeah.
He's conquered the octagon and now stage and screen, and I've conquered community service hours.
Yeah, Brian, we have not done very well. But, as they say, comparison is the thief of joy. So.
Well, it certainly is when you compare it. Where was the uplifting part of that message? That we have not done well? I was waiting for the but.
Well, that's what I was saying. Comparison is the thief of joy. Basically saying don't compare yourself to other people. Everybody does things at their own rate, and, not everyone's the same.
Sure. But you were saying that, we're not doing great in comparison to Conor McGregor and all this, but maybe there's an element or two that we are doing as good, if not better, than him at our almost same age, right? There's got to be
no,
an
not
upside.
at all. I was just trying to say don't compare ourselves to him because the down that way lies nothing but madness. Yeah.
Oh, that's why I recognize that. That's why I recognize that route. Madness. I've been there before.
But then again, let's also face it. I mean, he's a world-class athlete. I mean, just to fight professionally, not only just to get to that level, but to also be good at it. That's a small percentage of people that ever make it to that level.
I hear you, man.
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, that's kind of like us with podcasting,
Except we haven't made it. But yeah, absolutely. I get your point. But yeah, he's starting to, as far as professional athletes go, he is starting to get up there. So maybe that's what he's going to try and do, transition more into something else.
Yeah, I don't know. But then it would I guess he could just also either do that or just take the route of Floyd Mayweather and just start doing kind of influencer type of, exhibition matches.
He could start doing that. I mean, at this point too, he's got a big enough name. He could just be a brand. He could endorse products. He could start his own gym, the Conor McGregor training program or whatever. And
well, he certainly has a UFC wrapped around his finger.
Yeah. Very much.
So I'm sure he was their first go-to pick for once they got involved for getting him the role of Knox.
Well, especially because he's going to be one of the most famous and well-known. It's kind of what I was saying earlier, who gets butts in seats, He's definitely one of them.
Mm-hmm. He is, man. He's the UFC's Stone Cold. He goes to Roadhouse.
Yeah, with that, with that attitude.
You go see Roadhouse because Conor McGregor said so.
Yeah.
That's my Irish Stone Cold.
I get it, and I think if he told me to, I'd be like, yeah, all right, just don't hit me.
Do you follow? I follow Stone Cold on Instagram, by the way. You should do that if you don't. It's the greatest ever. Yesterday, I opened my phone to see giant ass Stone Cold posing with a very long haired cat, and it just made my day. But if I opened up and saw on Instagram, I mean, I've already seen this movie like 3 times, twice for pleasure, once for taking notes. But if I opened up my Instagram and saw that Stone Cold was like, "You need to go see Roadhouse because Stone Cold said so, and that's the bottom line."
At that point, I'd probably be like, you know what? I'm going to watch it again. You're right, Mr. Cold.
Exactly.
I'm in the mood again.
Yeah, I retract my statement. It wouldn't matter that I've already seen it 3 times. It wouldn't matter that I just got done watching it again. If I had opened my Instagram and then saw that Mr. Cold demanded my attention on that, I'm watching that movie one more time. That I gotta do it because that's the bottom line. Stone Cold said so.
He said so, and that's the bottom line.
And so, what I guess I'm getting at is
he's another wrestler.
Take note.
Yeah.
Yeah, take note, Conor McGregor.
Probably the biggest one is The Rock. Obviously, he's just become a full-blown movie star now. But
you think Cena's going to pass him up though? Cena's a more versatile actor.
Yeah,
I don't know about wrestling. It's not my world, but acting, I think he could do a hell of a lot more.
Maybe so, because it seems like, he's been doing movies on and off for a few years, but he kind of started the same way most wrestlers start, with like a WWE movie, doing some corny action film. Like I think he did. What was it like? The
Marine.
The Marine.
Which also
yes,
that was Stone Cold was supposed to be in that, but then he dropped out. I think he might have left the WWE or something like that, or maybe he ended up doing that Hunger Games knockoff. I don't know, but what was the point I was going to make? Yeah, that movie didn't really make him known in Hollywood. I mean, I guess he was known as a WWE guy. The one that I think actually got him more attention was Trainwreck. As Amy Schumer's boyfriend, because that was unexpected. Seeing that this fucking giant 400-pound buff motherfucker can also be hilarious.
That and then Daddy's Home. He was only showed up at the very end of the first one, but I think he had a bigger role in Daddy's Home too.
Yeah, but that wasn't as impressive, because I've only seen Daddy's Home, but anyways, when I think as far as what impressed Hollywood would be for sure the Trainwreck, because that's an Apatow film, and that's just, everyone knows there's a lot of improv that goes into that, and seeing he improvised a lot of his lines.
Yeah,
and I mean that is what versus just being a big guy. And I only saw Daddy. I haven't seen Daddy's Home 2, but in Daddy's Home, he just kind of shows up as oh, I'm a bigger man than Mark Wahlberg. That doesn't really take any comedic.
Well, he shows up. He's the even cooler guy. Yeah.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It doesn't take any comedic know-how to pull that off. All you have to do is show up and wear
look
leather.
Intimidating.
Yeah.
But yeah, then you're starting to see over the last few years more and more roles where you're getting a voice in Ferdinand, the animated movie. Then he was in Bumblebee, Doolittle, which didn't do very well, but he was in there. Then he was in some of the Fast.
It did little.
Yeah. Then he was in the at least Fast 9, and I think Fast 10. Oh, Suicide Squad probably really revived his career too, because that movie did pretty well. Yeah. And they made a sequel or a series based off his character.
Good show too. Good show.
I haven't watched the show. People said it was good though.
It is, man. Yeah, dude. So, anything else you want to add to us talking about 2024 Roadhouse?
No, I'll just end it by saying it was good. It was enjoyable. Watch it if you haven't.
And we did throat rips rating last time. There were no throat rips in this one. There was a throat punch to the death But on a scale of 1 to 10, how many? Let's see here. It's a good objective to use. How many broken pool cues would you rate this on a scale of 1 to 10? 10 being the best.
Let's say 8.
8 broken. That's substantial.
Yeah.
All right. That was hard. Sometimes it's hard to get a vibe of your ratings because you'll say things like I got the job done. So I'm thinking like he's going to give it a 6 or a 7, but 8's good. 8's high.
Yeah, well, it's hard to say because I feel like with the number system they're not equal. They might all be rated differently for different things. And
right.
I don't know.
Maybe
I don't want to
blow your mind, but also,
but yeah.
There's this other thing called art is subjective.
Yeah.
So yeah, with that being said, yeah, for me, obviously, you break every pool cue in that house. Can't. There's not enough. Pool cues. Why am I having so much trouble saying pool cue? Pool cue. Break every pool cue. In that Roadhouse, because that's 10 out of 10 for me. Fantastic. Wasn't expecting it to be this good. Great recommendation, Johnny. Next week, we're gonna have ourselves just a hang, just a nice little chill, little kicker.
All right.
Because we've been going hard these past few weeks, and
ladies and gentlemen, I believe we're experiencing some technical interference. But what we would like to end with is that we really enjoyed the new Roadhouse film. We recommend that you watch it. You heard it straight from both of us. We both rate it very highly and think that all of you would also enjoy watching the film. So please, do yourself a favor. Check out Roadhouse, the remake.
How about that for another episode, dear listener? I gotta be honest. I wasn't quite so sure about reviewing either of these Roadhouses when John came up with the idea. Mainly because I want to steer away from reviewing too many new films because I feel like that's just going to shy away a lot of potential audience members because, not every new movie is available, and you're probably not going to want to listen to a podcast giving you all the spoilers the same week that it comes out if you haven't seen it. That, and then also my other most treasured Roadhouse. My other prized possession, my baby, that I knew was going to be a great flick and fun to watch, has already been reviewed by another great comedy movie review podcast that I love called How Did This Get Made? And I just knew there was no way we were going to be able to do Roadhouse justice, reviewing it the same way that How Did This Get Made did. But you know what? That's okay. At the same time, I have to remind myself that as much as I want to be playing in the big leagues, this podcast, well, we'll be lucky to call her AA. So, I feel like I hadn't listened to that podcast specifically. The one that did it with Roadhouse in years, so I'd like to think I didn't rehash any of the things they said other than what would be obvious in the film. And I know John is not familiar with that podcast, so I think we kept it pretty original. And at this juncture in the season, as it goes with every season it seems to occur, is that we're at the point now of we have no more episodes left in the bank, and so we're shooting these puppies out and editing them within relatively, I don't know, today is Sunday, so I'll be getting this out in 3 days or so, which is not a big deal if you don't have a full-time job and work community service on a regular basis and attend AA meetings on a regular basis and audition for multiple roles on a regular basis. I'm just saying that I'm busy, which I've said 1,000 times, so you guys know the deal. I will say though, saying all that stuff out loud, minus the obligatory community service and day job for the time being, as much as it sounds like I'm complaining there, the other aspects of what I was just hashing out of my mouth, I'm actually pretty grateful for it. It's pretty badass. It's tiring, but I am pretty psyched with the amount of auditions I'm getting. If I can book one of those and get some extra coin and some time on my hands, well, that would be the real treat. But in due time, I suppose. Don't rush it. Just like they didn't rush the remake of this grand masterpiece, Roadhouse. It deserves the name. That's why I keep referring it to as 2024 Roadhouse and 1989 Roadhouse. Because they're both two fascinating, perplexing, mind-boggling movies that deserve respect without comparing one over the other. They're both simply great. Watch them back to back. Fall asleep, wake up, drink your coffee with it. I can't say enough good things about this film. And in closing, as always, I'd like to say, Como se llama hermana? Lo siento, palapento. Good night, all my North Texans, and sweet dreams, all my fellow Angelinos. And to everyone else in between, I bet you know what I mean. Have a good day, a good night. Don't be too uptight. Stay loose. Make it right. For this has been another episode of The Big Boys Podcast. Is a podcast produced by Not So Funny or Proud Productions. The team consists of co-hosts, co-producers, and co-editors Brian Hickey and John Sorrells, better known as John the Great. For more information about the duo or this show, please visit us at bigboyspodspot.com, or feel free to take a gander at our production page, notsofunnyorproud.com. Look us up on social media and follow us at Big Boys Podspot. New episodes drop every Thursday on every popular podcast hosting platform known to man. So please be sure to like, subscribe, vibe, describe, contrive, confide, collide, abide, preside, tell your tribe, and most importantly, do prescribe. Me and Elixir for talking out the side of my neck.